Hello, welcome to section 2.2, comparing and ordering integers. As always, go ahead and press pause and write your information down and press play when you're ready. So today we're going to be comparing and ordering decimals. And when we compare, or not decimals, sorry, integers. When we compare our integers, we're using less than, greater than, or equal to. Okay? And if you remember, when you read these symbols, you're reading them from left to right. So the number to the left is less than the number to the right. The number to the left is greater than the number to the right. The number to the left is equal to the number to the right. Okay, so you're reading them left to right. So when you read the symbols, that's what you should be, that's how you would read them. Most of you remember that the alligator is going to eat the bigger number. So if you position the less than or greater than sign, so it's eating the bigger number, then all you have to remember to do is correlate that symbol to either less than or greater than. Okay, when comparing and ordering integers, it's helpful to use a number line. So we're going to start off by just comparing each set of numbers using less than, greater than, or equal to, and we're comparing -5 to -10. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little number line, and the point for today, or at least to start off with, is just to remember what our number line looks like. Okay, if you recall, the numbers to the right of the 0 are going to be our positive numbers. So these are all our positive numbers over here. To the left of the 0 are our negative numbers. And don't forget, as you move to the left, the numbers continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, think of temperature. Temperature keeps going lower and lower and lower and lower. Okay, as it gets more negative. And then as we move to the right, the numbers are getting larger and larger and larger. Okay, so you can always compare or notate which number is bigger by the number that's furthest to the right. So if I want to, I can always draw a number line to check my answer. So -5, remember you draw your -5 right here. Between -4 and -6, there's -5. And then -10 is over here. Okay, the number furthest to the right is larger. Okay, so if -5 is larger than -10, that means -5 is greater than -10. So I'm going to use my greater than symbol, and it's going to eat the bigger number. Okay, so if you ever get stuck on any of these, remember that you can always draw yourself a little number line just to give you a little refresher. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for all of these. I have -31 and -30. Now remember, on your number line, if this is 0, I'm starting to go this way as my negatives. All right, so -30 would actually come before -31, which means -30 is bigger than -31. So it's going to eat the -30, and this means -31 is less than -30. For C, I'm comparing 7 and 0, and this is a pretty easy one. We know that a positive number is going to be bigger than 0, which is a neutral number. So positive 7 would be greater than 0. Okay, now remember our absolute value. Absolute value of -7 would be, remember, the distance -7 is from 0. So -7 is 7 spots away from 0. So I'm really comparing 7 and 7. And we know 7 is equal to 7. In our last one here, -25. The absolute value of -25, once again, is the distance -25 is from 0. And so -25 is going to be 25 spots away from 0. And I'm going to compare that to a negative absolute value of 37. Now when the negative sign's on the outside, I cannot apply the absolute value to that sign because it's on the outside. Just like when I have 6 plus 2 times 7, I do not count this multiplication as being part of the parentheses that's on the outside. Okay? So the absolute value of positive 37 is 37, but my negative sign is going to stay. Now we have to think about this. Will a negative number ever be bigger than a positive number? Okay, would a negative temperature ever be higher than a positive temperature? And the answer is no. So 25 would be greater than, okay, negative 37. Or the absolute value of negative 25 would be greater than the negative absolute value of 37. So that was our comparing numbers. And now we're going to order each set of numbers from least to greatest. And as always, using a number line can be very helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a number line, at least for the first one, just to demonstrate how we can use it. So I'm going to put my 0 in the middle, put my positive numbers to the right, and my negative numbers to the left. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and plot my points just so I can see it very easily. The smaller numbers are going to be the numbers furthest to the left, and as I move to the right, they're getting larger. Okay, so I'm going to start by plotting a negative 1. And a negative 1 will be right behind the 0 and between the negative 2. So here's negative 1. And positive 5, which is on the positive side, right here. Negative 3, so I have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And then a positive 2. And I'm going from least to greatest. So my least number, my smallest number, will be the number furthest to the left. So from least to greatest, I would have negative 3, then negative 1, then 2, then 5. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the second one. And as always, if you want to draw your number line, you're more than welcome to do that. Probably make less mistakes if you do that, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my positive numbers to the right here, my negative numbers, okay, and I'll start with my 0, which is my neutral number. It's between the positive and the negatives, and then a negative 4, a negative 2, a 7, and a negative 1. And you'll notice when we draw these in, it just makes it so much more visually helpful, okay, to see from left to right, it's least to greatest. So my smallest number here is negative 4, then negative 2, then negative 1, then 0, then 7. So once again, use these number lines. It's going to just help you out. Make sure you're not going to miss any of these problems. Our last set of numbers are going from greatest to least. And you'll notice this time I threw in some absolute value signs. Okay, when using your absolute value signs, you're going to find the absolute value first and then apply. Okay, and then go ahead and apply. I'm going to change my color here. Okay, so the absolute value of 5 is 5. The absolute value of negative 2 is 2. And the absolute value of 7 is 7. Now, please, it just makes it so much easier if when you order them from greatest to least, if you include what it originally looked like. Okay, because on the homework and when we grade it tomorrow, you're going to be able to see that absolute value signs. It's just going to be easier to grade. So my largest number, and I'm going to do it this time without using a number line, it's going to be the number that is the largest positive number. Okay, so I have a 5, a 2, and a 7. Okay, we know 7's the largest, so the absolute value of 7 would be the largest number. And I mark them off as I use them. Okay, and then my next largest positive number is 5. And that's absolute value of 5. Next largest number is 2. And that's the absolute value of a negative 2 here. Okay, and now I have a -3, a 0, and a -9 left. Well, we know 0 is our neutral number, so it's not yet negative, so 0 is still going to be larger than the negative numbers. Then if you visualize on a number line, the -3 would be closer to the 0 than the -9. So the -3 is going to be your next largest number, and -9 would be the smallest. Okay, so now I've used up all my numbers. So go ahead and try B by yourself, and then compare it to what I put for my answer. Okay, so absolute value of -3 is a +3. Absolute value of -2 is a 2. Absolute value of 11 is +11. So once again, when I order them from greatest to least, I need to find the largest positive number first. And my largest positive number would be 11. So absolute value of 11 here is my largest number. And then I have a 3, a 2, and a 6. So the next largest number is a +6. And then I have my absolute value of -3, which is +3. And then the absolute value of -2, which is a +2. The only negative number I have today is my -4, and so that will be the smallest number in my set. Okay, so whenever in doubt, draw a number line, please. Okay, remember that from the left to the right would be going from the smallest number to the largest. When I'm going from greatest to least, I would write those numbers from my number line from the right to the left. Okay. As always, if you have any questions, come in and ask them tomorrow. Thank you for watching it tonight, and we'll see you later.